Tori Nook. I'm the principal and founder of Anchor Retail in Cleveland, Ohio. And today on the Tori Nook Show, I have my friend Rafael Weiss, and he is the founder of Sytes, Sytes, which we're going to discuss today. And he's also a developer with JW Advance. And he's also owns racehorses and breeds them. Something we slightly have in common is horse world. I'm not in
Yeah,
thoroughbred world. I used to own a thoroughbred and ride it, but we could talk about horses later and how I think a lot of successful people grew up in horse world because it takes a lot
yeah,
of patience and discipline.
that's true. And then all those successful people lost their money from the horses. That's
Yeah.
where the money
Like,
went.
yeah, you're okay with losing big chunks of change. It's okay. And you can make a lot later. It's like a nice, you learn the roller coaster ride and how
That's
to
for sure.
roll with it.
Definitely a roller coaster. Definitely a roller coaster. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, please.
No, it'll be a fun topic because as the more I talk to people, it was like the first time I talked to you because you and I were introduced by Jonah over at Matthews, who I'm friends with
Yeah,
in Cleveland, and I never even heard of your company because I wasn't even following you at LinkedIn. At the time, your company Sites, not JW
yes,
Advance, but I remember you called me because you saw me at the Ascot races.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you're like, "Hey, we've been meaning to talk." You're something in
yeah. We
common.
need to
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, technically, your journey started out after college, really in the music business, right?
It did. Yeah, it absolutely did. So essentially, I started out in the DJ business. I had a fun little run there for a bit.
Mhm.
Uh, it's hard to sustain. Probably the hardest business I feel like that is in existence. I know that's
Totally.
funny to say, but I'm telling you, the music industry is so hard.
Yeah,
Like,
this is for hope everyone in real estate world.
yeah. Yeah, I know, and I know it's tough to be a broker, but
Yeah,
trust me, it's just you work as hard in the music industry and make literal peanuts, absolutely nothing. At least there's a commission check at the end of
true.
the tunnel somewhere for you guys. There is no commission check in
No.
music. Um, yeah.
How do you make your money?
Oh my God, I can get into. I mean, royalties. You can do writing for other people and get paid a fee, but like the money is just like it's a joke now because the whole industry basically
Mhm.
collapsed
Yeah.
after the online streaming. The money's
Yeah.
just not there because it's so
Yeah.
commoditized that
Right.
you can't you can get for free. But a real estate will never have that problem, right? The real estate's always going to be a finite resource. So
Yeah. I mean,
um,
it's the structural buildings that aren't going away. So, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's never going to go. Although I always get weirded out. I'm like, well, what if we get into that like VR world where it's like you got the goggles on and then nobody has to leave their house. And it's like only multifamily is making money and everything else.
True. I think there are people who don't leave their house without the goggles anyways. I think you're always going to have the hermits.
For sure.
I think our industry is one that we don't have to worry about Amazon taking over Apple or like a big industry either, which is nice.
Well, that
Um,
was the big thing with retail. Like I remember, like my dad was telling me like 15 years ago, is like I'm getting out of retail. Amazon's gonna ruin everything. Everyone thought that, and then
yeah.
it never happens. Like there's always like these weird like, oh, it's over now, and like pack it all up, and it's like
Yeah.
10 years later, everything's kind of fine. Maybe it's like it's different but the same.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is, I think that's a good point you just brought up. People get into because I think our media makes us, live in fear, and we can't live in fear. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we have to have common sense and use it and use your intuition. But I mean, we are social creatures at the end of the day, the majority of us. And I mean, people want to go out to eat. They want to go touch and feel. I mean, there's certain things I absolutely would never buy online. I got to go see it
So
and
yeah,
touch it
furniture.
or try it on or whatever, especially on big purchases like,
Yeah,
even furniture and stuff. But
yeah.
yeah, that's a really, really good point.
Yeah, and we always get like wrapped up in like this is the end of the world, like we got to get out. Like right now with I don't know if you've seen like a lot of news around Target. They're not doing the best right now. but you know, it's like, oh, their stock's down whatever 3% or 4%. But like you have to look at it from the grand scheme of things, you know, like they're actually doing amazing on the grand scheme of things. And like I own a lot of Target you know, anchored retail.
Hmm.
Um I'm just you know, I can get caught up in that media storm on the Wall Street Journal and all
Right.
that and like get freaked out. But at the end of the day, I think Target's going to be Target. You know, they offer a great shopping experience, and I like it. You know,
You know as well as I know, as soon as people read or listen to the news, especially like family members or people who are not in the industry and friends, I think it's a great example. I learned years ago not to like listen to the media. It's absolutely, ridiculous. I think you gotta again go back to using your common sense, have faith. Like just like when there was the recession, that was like the first year I made $1 million. You know what I mean? Like,
hey,
I just kept plowing through because you gotta look at the fact that fortunes are made at downfalls.
hundred
And that's
percent.
why cash is king. And that's why, like for instance, now, look, you know what? If you know it's still a strong company, you know who's running it. I mean, look, even Apple, look at all these big, they're all down. That's when you go buy the stocks and then you, it's low, right?
Look at Office right now, though. Like it's just I think that there's I don't know, you know, of course, like Class C office is tough, right? Nobody
Yeah.
wants to go into like a
Yeah.
moldy office, right?
Right.
Where you know 1970s fixtures, but like, do you want to go into the office that has an Equinox at the bottom of it, that has, you know, a couple gourmet restaurants downstairs and the three different choices for a cafe? Maybe you do, you know, because that kind of sounds nice, you know?
I mean, look at all these companies like in Seattle now, because I'm friends with a lot of people with First Western out there because they're part of Realty Resources. And I mean, obviously a lot of their spouses work at Amazon or Microsoft. They all have to go back. They're all back at work. They're not working at home anymore. I mean, I think the thing is going back to work is definitely coming back. I think even if it's not 5 days a week, it's definitely at least three. And I think it's going to come in full force again. And maybe not full force, but I think 3 or 5 days for sure. And I think the thing is, Class C office space is like the C malls. They're just gonna get demoed.
For sure. For sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
really.
they're going. But
Unless
I
they're
don't think
historic
office.
enough to redo, because some people, you walk into Chicago or New York and even Cleveland that redo pretty cool
Oh,
old office.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You could get those like nice, you know,
yeah,
exposed brick office. I mean, that has
yeah,
value for sure.
yeah.
You know, I think that I think that you know nothing really goes away entirely. It's just like it's almost like it's the same but different, right?
Right.
You know, Office is just another one of those things. So when you made your first million, was that tenant rep or was that what were you doing? Is that landlord?
Always did both. With I'd say my tenant rep was always 60 to 70% my whole life until now. Like now I really just exclusively only focus on because my life has changed. I own multiple businesses. So, I do select clients for my tenant rep and, I handle my third party property management company, my own company, Anchor Retail. Yeah. And obviously things I do with my husband and just other investments we have. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and what I love about what you do is like you do a lot of content that actually caters towards tenant reps, and I don't see that. There's really not too many people out there that do
let,
that.
let me credit Ms. Beth Azor for that because back in January when I was 3 months into doing social media, I mean, I had no idea how to, I just started. I'm following it, trying to understand it. And we were just talking because I was just asking her like, questions and about just various platforms and what she does. And she's like, why do you not write about tenor reps? She said, people don't know anything about it. People call me
Yeah,
about it. I never did it. I've only, done landlord rep and own shopping centers. She's like, you should put content out. So, obviously I shocked I come up with things every week. But I do.
I have the discipline.
Yeah, I do, because there's something that always comes up, whether it's me or someone else in my office that I just think about talking about, right?
Yeah, of
You
course. I
know?
mean, you know, when we work in the same industry, there's always some crazy thing that happens that'll screw with you, and then you gotta. I mean, all you have to do is write about it. I got someone asked me like, how do you come up with like what you write about. I'm just like, I literally just talk about what it comes to my mind, like what I just witnessed. There's a million things to talk about if you're doing anything in commercial
Exactly.
real estate.
I mean, I could be writing all day, every day if I really felt like it. I just don't have the time. I set my schedule, what I'm doing, and that's it. I have some good posts from some landlords, though, that they've sent me. I'm not going to put their name, but okay, so you were a music producer right out
Mhm.
of school. And then
Yep.
how long did you do that? And then did you get into development next?
Yeah. So, when I was 19, I started producing music. I went to UM for a summer semester and dropped out because
Okay.
I had some songs that did well, and
Okay.
I decided to move to LA and pursue a music career. So I went to a music school called Icon Collective.
Okay.
I graduated from Icon, and it was a bunch of successful music producers came out of there. Some that are still like making millions of dollars a year,
Yeah.
touring. Funnily enough, playing the biggest festivals. I was
Yeah.
not one of them. I did
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
Uh,
clearly isn't your calling. So,
Yeah, I did okay, right? I did okay, but it was just like I wanted to do better, and I had a nice run, but once I turned 24, it was harder to get shows, and at a certain point, I just said screw it and decided to
mhm.
hike the Appalachian Trail. So I
Oh,
hiked the Appalachian Trail. I did that for 6 months. I went from Georgia to Maine. Okay,
you did the
I did
full-fledged
the
song.
whole thing. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like the 2,000 miles plus, right? So yeah, it was fun. I loved it, and the whole time I was listening to audiobooks on commercial real estate. My dad was in the industry. I was always around him. My mom was a realtor for Sotheby's, and I was just like my whole family was just in commercial real estate. So I was always pretty familiar with it. My dad taught me a lot, and I essentially just literally listened to audiobooks the entire time I was on the Appalachian Trail. I did a lot of like self learning. Then when I got back, I was still doing music. I was still making money with music. I shifted more into like sync music production, which is like making trailer music. So I got like the trailer for the new Gossip Girl, and I did like Batwoman on the CW and like some cool
Yeah.
stuff like that. Did some big video games too. I got like trailer music and Call of Duty mobile commercials and I don't know, a bunch of other games. But anyways, at the same time, I went to UCLA and got a certificate in real estate. Um, and I was slowly transitioned in, and then I started working with my dad. We started managing properties. He started teaching me
Right.
about the business, and I moved to Florida when I was 26 or sorry 27, I think it was,
Yeah.
and just went full on into the music or sorry into the real estate industry.
So did you went straight working for your dad then, or
Yeah, yeah. I
okay.
started working with my dad, and then I got into BTS, freestanding development, which then got me, realizing that this industry is a mess. It's so slow and for no reason, which is why I
Oh, yeah.
started Sites, and that's how we
Well,
got here.
how so you were 27 when you started working as a developer. I don't even know,
Mhm.
how old are you now?
I'm 32.
Okay. So you got into it, so you've been doing it 5 years now.
Yeah,
Now,
5 years. Yeah,
obviously, it's you probably started at the worst of times, honestly.
yeah, yeah, for
I
sure.
think post-COVID, the business is not as much fun. It's not rolling like it should. Too much between tariffs and no new construction and inflation.
Yeah,
Well, there is new construction, but it's not the way it was for the past 20 some years that I was in the business.
yep.
Now that I'm up to 25, the last 5 years have kind of stunk. But anyways, you find other fun things to do. And so in outlets and that's the fun of life, right? So you tell the audience like why you founded Sites, and let me repeat this. It's spelled Sytes. And if anyone is in commercial real estate and you are a developer, broker, retailer, even if you're in industrial office, you need to check out Sites because it is quite genius what you thought up.
Thank you. I
Pretty
appreciate
too.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. You know, it was basically out of pure necessity, right? I was trying to develop and trying to do deals, and I
Hmm.
kept running across the same issue, which is that tenants would not get back to me fast enough. Tenant reps wouldn't get back to me fast enough. I took it personally. I'm like, this tenant rep hates me. Like, what the hell? He's not picking up the phone. She doesn't want to respond to my email, blah, 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 blah. That's not the case at all. I
Right.
actually realized the problem is there's a disconnect, right? Because you're a tenant rep broker, right? And everyone wants to send you every deal, okay? And your email is overloaded, your phone's getting blown up, and you're not seeing the right stuff, right? And then on the landlord developer side, me as a developer, I want to send you the right deals. I just don't know where to look because there was never a place online where I could accurately see where the tenants that you represent need new locations and what the exact criteria is for those areas, right? So all we needed to do was create a place where the tenant reps could come on, say, hey, we need this. And then the landlords and developers can come on and say, hey, we
Yeah.
can give you that. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. It didn't exist. So that's what we did with Sytes.
And this was started how long ago?
So me and Dean, we started building it, and funnily enough, okay, so all comes back to the music industry, right? So I'm the guy that I co-founded Sytes with. Guess where I met him? At music school.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just
The
crazy.
reason why you were there. There's everyone, has a purpose in our life, good or
Yes,
bad.
100%, 100%, good
Yeah.
or bad.
Yeah.
Emphasis on the bad.
Well,
Now,
we either earn or we learn,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
The
Yes.
learn part is when you're dealing with negative
Yeah,
situations.
yes. We can get into that too. We can talk about
Yeah.
that. But that's always fun. Anyways, yeah. So we started building it 2.5 years ago,
Hmm.
and we went to market about a year and a half ago, and we started picking up steam about, I'd say, 6 months ago. It was a
Okay.
struggle at first.
Like any business.
Of
Just to
course,
be clear
yeah,
to everyone who thinks they're making $1 million tomorrow, you never will. It's impossible. I don't care. Like every business, I don't care what you're doing. And you've been in all three, you've been in three: music, you're in real estate, you're in
yes,
technically tech with
yeah,
sites, and
technically, yeah,
you own resources and trade
yeah,
them and trade them and sell them. So I mean, none of this is easy. So if
yeah,
everything looks glamorous, people's lives, there's shit going on behind the scenes
hundred
constantly.
percent,
To be
hundred
clear.
percent. It's a
You're
it's a get
sweating if
rich
you're gonna make it,
slow.
every year, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So Bob Knackel was saying it's a get rich slow industry.
Yeah.
So, and that's what it
Yeah.
is. You build your pipeline up
Mhm.
and you make it happen over time.
Yeah.
So,
But it's
yeah.
very lucrative once you're patient enough to do it, right?
Boy,
I
oh,
mean,
yeah.
the only way you're gonna get a get rich quick, which you're not gonna get rich quick, but I mean, I think people, let's say if they're in manufacturing or they invented something, maybe in
Yeah.
a couple years they could sell it for a pretty crazy EBITDA if they invented like ring doors or whatever. But that's not the norm. Yeah.
And Dogecoin,
Yeah. Right.
I could have done it. But even the Bitcoin guys, they got in like 10 years ago, right?
Right. Right.
Nothing's really quick, but
Well, that's a whole
yeah,
other conversation why you should have your money in different places between
yeah.
businesses and investments. It just can't all be in one pot, right?
100%. So let me ask you this question: If you
Mhm.
had if some, let's just say I don't know anything about commercial real estate, I come to Tori and I say, Tori, I want to invest in commercial real estate. What asset class would you recommend I invest in?
I mean, it also depends on the risk threshold too, right?
Yeah. So let's just
But
say I'm a medium risk type of guy.
I mean, to me, I think just doing a steady Eddie shopping center, industrial building, whether, you know, depending on what they could spend, whether it's a unanchored shopping center or a grocery anchored center, or you do flex space with multiple units with long term tenants. I mean, I think everything's about how strong the tenants are, how long term they are, how long have they been there. Because I think, like, even you might even look at some strip centers where, and I mean, strip mall guy, he's probably the first to talk about it, is that have more mom and pops. So the thing is, I mean, think about it, where you live, where I live, there's been the same mom and pop since I was a kid in some of these shopping centers because that's their family owned business. Like they have to make it, right? So they do work hard and stay put. I think they're not going to go buy their own buildings because they need to be in a shopping center, but you know, I think
Yeah,
it's
and they
pretty safe
can,
in a
right?
major regional trade area, not rural, not something that's fringy, you just in a safe, normal, strong suburban area that isn't going anywhere.
Oh, 100%.
And that's same for
Okay.
industrial, in my opinion, too. But I think if you're high risk, if you could buy, say, oh, well, I think medical office is very safe.
Medical
You're
offices.
medium risk for sure. And then if you want to be risky, then you do figure out other risky things to do, like office, but getting it on the cheap and backfilling it in major regional trade areas where you could get at least. But it's just all going to be on how much you pay for it.
Got it. Okay. So if I'm buying office, there's three markets in Ohio that I'm going to buy in: Eastlake, Beechwood, and let's just say downtown.
I mean, Westlake,
Or,
Westlake on the west side.
okay. All right. We'll go with
On the
Westlake.
east side. Yeah.
Okay.
And down.
So yeah, in downtown. Where am I buying?
I would buy, well, actually, we left out Independence because that's really the biggest office market for Class A after downtown. And then, so I think you're safe in honestly all three.
Hmm.
You could go wrong.
Do you do a lot in Columbus?
Yeah, we have an office there.
Oh, no way.
That's
Oh,
where
okay.
Arthur Kaplan, who's our investment broker, is down there. And then Angelo does tenant landlord rep. So she covers like from, all Columbus, Southeast Columbus, Central, down to Dayton. We do a lot down in Dayton, which is just like an hour from there. And we manage properties the same way from here, down to Dayton as well.
So what do
But
you
we retail
what
and
do you,
industrial.
what do you think about the Columbus market? Like I know that, the Intel factory, it's just everyone, that's all everyone talks about. So like what's the final take on Columbus?
It is like the taxes are more than Cleveland, in general. I think, even residential wise, it's tight. See, people always say with the three C's, they're all about 2 million people. But what they don't understand is that Northeast Ohio, where Cleveland is, in an hour driving radius, you have actually 4.5 million, about four, I think it's like 4.3 million people. And, that's huge, right? Versus because we have all these county seats surrounding
Right.
Cleveland. The Cleveland MSA is 5 counties, but the total counties are 18, that are feeding in with all these micro MSAs like Akron and the Youngstown market and, Ashtabula and Sandusky. So it's a really big region. And I think that's why, that's obviously why the Cleveland brokers have always really killed it because they've
Hmm.
got a big trade area and then they filter into Toledo, that's an hour and a half away. Then they filter, down to Columbus because Columbus just never had a strong brokerage houses, I think due to the size of the market always being very small. Cause like when I was in college 25 years ago, it was very small,
Yeah,
Columbus. I mean, it only grew in the past 2 decades, really.
I know.
Therefore, the space is tight because they have certain developers. It's kind of like a fiefdom, in my opinion, down there. The same people own the same properties. It's not like a multi-mix, between private REITs, this, that, local, whatever. And, they actually keep their brokerage in house. So it's different. It's the most different market I've really honestly ever worked. And I've worked multiple states for multiple tenant rep clients.
Wow.
It's very different than here, and the same people kind of control, it seems like the land they're selling, the same groups.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so it's different.
That's got to change eventually though. I mean, it's too hot over there. It needs to just blow
It's
up in my opinion.
yeah, it's not as easy, and nothing's easy, but it's definitely, I think, the toughest market in Ohio to work.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you something interesting. Uh Ohio probably has, I would say it's maybe the fifth or sixth most uh popular state on sites in terms of like actual like listings and deals to be done. There are more deals and tenants looking in Ohio than a lot of other states that you would think about. And I just think people overlook Ohio. And
They
I don't
do
know.
in Ohio. Like when I used to represent, I mean, this is a great example. I used to handle all 13 centers this is back in 2009 and 10 and 11, I think 12, that 4-year range. So when Nancy Mazzacchio headed up as a CEO of Cedar Realty Trust, she hired me and another gentleman at my firm at the time that I was at, not only leased their shopping centers, but we also handled all their renewals too. And I love their CFO, this guy, Mike Winters, and none of these people are there anymore. I mean, Cedar's changed a lot, but, anyways, I remember him telling me how he was so mad. He called me to tell me they were selling all their centers in Ohio. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, the 20 something Wall Street kids think the Midwest is just a bunch of cornfields. And he's like, but actually, we make our most money here. And this really stinks. But we're on Wall Street. So we got to follow the trends and buy where, the analysts are saying, this is where these REITs should be owning shopping centers.
Yeah.
And he's like, "These are such good deals." He's like, "I'm so jealous of whoever's buying these because they were well leased, and they were, even the nets, everything was really under control. It was easy to release them if someone went out and people renewed. It was rare we were releasing out space, because Ohio is strong, and I think people overlook our state. I mean, we have 13.5 million people. I mean, I have certain retailers who have specifically told me that obviously Texas and California are their biggest markets because they're the biggest state, right? So, those are the big ones. Ohio was usually 3rd, 4th, or 5th most important in the whole chain for when they're looking at states to expand in. And it is fascinating because it's not like we're increasing in growth. We're just pretty much stagnant, right? I mean, do we have a little influx because of COVID? And people moving back obviously for political reasons. I mean, we were an open state, during COVID, you could do what you want. We didn't have the crazy restrictions because we're red. Sometimes we're purple, but we're mostly like, I think, a red state. So you've got a lot of flexibility here, and more freedom, I would say. And again, I think our taxes are nothing. Like I remember, you know, a family member of ours that lived in New York City, when they came and saw the house John and I bought when we were 27 and just got married, they're like, "Oh my God, this would be like a $13 million house where we live like, in Connecticut." And we're like, "What?" We're not paying even close to that. It was just a couple hundred grand, and the taxes are low.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
it was
It,
affordable for us being dual income, obviously, but
yeah. And I probably like, I'm from Florida, right? So,
Mhm.
Miami, it's hot
Yeah,
city, whatever. Um, I have a ton of family in Ohio. So I grew up going to Ohio. I grew up going to Cleveland like my whole life, right? So, oh, you didn't know that? Oh, yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah. So I grew up going to like, I have a ton of family in Beechwood, I'm Jewish. So I spend the holidays
did
there.
your dad start with the horses here or down in
No, no, in South Florida. Actually, but funnily enough, he got in his first horse with our cousins from Ohio. So,
Yeah, because
yeah,
there's actually a lot of thoroughbred. I mean, there's a lot of horse. That's another thing. It is kind of big horse country in Ohio.
yeah, oh yeah, no, 100%. So no, it's just funny. It's just funny that people kind of overlook it because
Mhm.
honestly, like, there's so many deals to be had,
Yeah,
and like, I think they're great deals in Ohio. I look at Ohio deals all the time. Like, I don't know why more people don't talk about it. I know like a couple big developers that are in Florida, like Casto likes Ohio a lot. But like, more people need to know about Ohio, man. Ohio's
right.
like, it's like a well kept secret. I almost don't want to talk about it, but
It is a
you
well
know,
kept secret because like a lot of people come back, especially that live in like New York and Chicago, because they can live here, get the big house, they can join the country club, have luxury cars, and have this great family life. And plus, our schools are amazing here, especially up northeast where I live. I mean, you could pick from any top private school in the country, any religion, everything. It's almost like
yeah,
a mini Chicago or New York, in a way. And we have all the sport teams,
yeah.
including.
I mean, my cousin
So,
literally moved from San Francisco back to Solon, Ohio. Like literally,
oh
you
my
know?
gosh. Yeah.
So
Because the cost of living is crazy. And like, who wants to live? Like, how discouraging to know you just can't get anywhere, even if you have a good, even white collar job,
yeah,
and you're still going to be living in $1 million as big as my sunroom, house. So it's
no,
like,
I know.
it's
It,
discouraging, especially when you hit your 30s and get married
oh
and
yeah,
have kids.
no, 100%, 100%. But yeah, anyways, people,
Yeah, we're
get
getting off
out there
real.
to Ohio, okay?
But look, I mean, all these things matter to get more commercial, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, anyways, the horse business, right? So how do we get into that? So, my dad got looped in. He was part of like a partnership in the horse biz, maybe like 16 years ago, and that horse ended up going to the Breeders' Cup. Okay, so his first horse literally ended up being in like one of the biggest races in the United States. Horse didn't do well, but the thrill of it and all of that got
Yeah.
him like hooked. Then he got
Yeah.
me hooked. So, I think I must have been like 2009 or something like that.
Mhm.
I was still in high school at the time,
Yeah.
2008, something around then. But basically, I grew up around it. And then, he started a stable. So I became partners with him in the stable. I took like a little bit of
Yeah.
money and I got into it. And, it was a fun hobby. He passed away. So I took over the stable and, I breed and I race them. And I've had some amazing breeding moments. Racing has not been good to me, unfortunately, but it's not really good to anybody. You can get some lucky breaks, but it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Breeding has been awesome. I like to breed more than I race now, and it's cool. I have 16, 17 horses now. Uh,
Hmm.
it's fun. I'm always buying and selling, and you know, trying to play matchmaker. Oh, that I think that stallion will go well with my
Right.
my mare and all this like craziness, and it's just being around horses is common, and you know that, right? Because I
You know
remember when
why
we
they're calming, because their heart and what they're exuding, like their energy is within 20 feet. That's why you can't not feel good walking in a horse barn.
yeah, yeah, and when you look a horse in the eye, there's
Yeah.
just like a very calming
Soul.
presence to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's something there that's just like peaceful. Uh,
There
you,
is.
yeah, and they have personalities. Like some of them are silly, some of them are
Mhm.
like assholes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
we have a little pony. He's just like, I call him the showman. He's a total dick. I could even relate to like a person he could be that I'm dealing with, right? Yeah.
oh, there you go. Is it a broker on the other side of a deal?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
But now
could
I
only
got her a nicer horse. His name's Snip. So,
nip.
yeah, he's like laid back.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so they have personality. A lot of people don't know that horses have
Yeah.
personalities,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
Like
it's just
dogs and cats.
yeah, absolutely. So, and they're smart. They're a lot smarter
Yeah.
than you think. You teach a
Yeah.
horse how to do something once, and they'll remember it, right? Like it's pretty cool.
Yep.
So just interacting with them, petting them, touching them is it's always fun, and like I get to do that. So I like being around them. And I know you ride, so you get to have the real fun, right? I think the first time we talked, you literally told me you were riding horses in England.
Yeah. Well, that's a fun part of going to England, London, because they have livery stables. So unlike
Yeah.
here, because everyone's so crazy and you can't do anything without signing a million documents and
Hmm.
clogging up our court systems over stupid stuff. Where
Yeah.
there you
Right.
can't just be running around suing people for stupid things. So what's nice is these livery stables, and you just pay as you go, and it's not even just paying as you go. Like you get to ride really nice, great horses, and it's fun, and beautiful scenery, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's different over there. I was there last summer, and I still think about it. I wish I got over there this summer. I just couldn't swing it, but it's awesome. I
Yeah,
love the whole vibe there.
I do.
I went to Newmarket. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever heard of Newmarket.
No, I know. I mean, some of the best racehorses definitely come out of there that are winning at Ascot, that's for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the best breeders and
100%. It was crazy because it's like that literally was like a horse town since like I think like the
hundreds of years.
1200s or
Yeah,
something like
something
that.
crazy. Yeah.
I stayed in a 600-year-old house that's
Yeah.
only meant for the king's horse trainer. Okay, so I literally stayed in the king's or yeah the queen's at the time it was the queen's horse trainer's home.
Yeah.
It's called Heath House.
Mhm.
Okay, and it was honestly one of the craziest experiences I've ever been in. I actually
Yeah.
was there with my broker buddy,
Oh, fun.
who I do. So yeah, it was just like two real estate guys, like in the middle of nowhere, England. Just dealing with like the queen's horseman at the
Yeah.
time, and I stayed in the hound room, and it was literally just a room filled with like the best hounds that they
Yeah.
had because they raced the dogs there too,
Yeah.
right? And then I don't know what my buddy's room was, but it was an absolute trip. Like it was
Isn't it amazing
unbelievable.
culture that we don't have culture here. Like we used to, like where I live in Gates
It's
Mills, like have
new. It's
real
a
hunt
new
club
culture.
where the
Yeah.
hounds were.
Yeah.
They would bring them in from England with their trainers and all. They stopped doing the hunts right before COVID. Again,
Yeah.
because someone sued someone for something, and then they just were like, we're going to shut this down. And now they lease the barn to a trainer my daughter rides with.
Well, there you go.
It's
We're,
just, it's sad, but like over there, it keeps the culture keeps going. I mean, like when we lived there, I mean, I would walk out of my house, which was behind or townhouse behind Harrods, and walk to the main road. There would be 300 bay horses that almost looked identical, and there were all the king horses were bays, and then the
wow.
queens were all the black and white ones.
Wow. That's
And yes,
amazing.
that armor and stuff up close, you're like, whew.
Yeah, no, it's wild. It is wild. And the funny part is like, they have bars that are like older than the United
Oh,
States. So it's
total.
like,
I mean, they're
yeah,
like 4,000 years old.
it's nuts. Yeah. So it gives you
Crazy.
some perspective for sure, for sure. But you know what? We have a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of business to be done. I think I like our business environment here. I feel like, if you're an entrepreneur, like you can do a lot of damage here.
Yeah.
And if
Well,
you have
that's
that
why I
business.
like the US too.
Yeah, yeah. So we are lucky, and like you're Ohio. Like we were talking about, it's. I feel like it's a sleeping giant. Like it's up and coming. Like I see a lot of deals getting done in Ohio, a ton on sites, more than a lot of other states. Like it's just behind Texas, California, and Florida. Like just behind there. There's a couple other states that are pretty big, like North Carolina, Tennessee, getting deals done. But like in Georgia also, but like Ohio, it's right up
Yeah.
there. It's pretty crazy.
Because I think even though like Atlanta has 8 million people, the rest of the state, it's still, I think, not as big as Ohio. It's just
Yeah,
that they have bigger cities in Nashville and whatnot, but they're still smaller states.
yeah.
Um, but going back to sites, like how did you even get these retailers to commit to you? And who was the first one who did it?
Oh man. Okay. So how it all got started, how sites got started. The first two people to sign up were Matt Maring, okay, from Go To Foods. He started in South Florida, or Florida as a whole. That's where we started. And then Aaron Zucker and Kendall. Kendall introduced me to Aaron because it was actually at a dinner with Go To Foods that I met Kendall, and he heard the pitch, and he's like, "Oh, I want to get on that. Let me introduce you." And so they got on the same day.
I didn't realize Matt was the first one to sign on. Like I used to work with him a lot, which is interesting.
Yeah, Matt was
Like
literally the
Aaron,
first
I
one.
love, and
Yeah.
Kendall. I
Yep.
invest in a lot of Aaron's deals.
There you go. So they were literally the first two. They committed on the same day. It was at Retail Live Nashville
Yeah,
in
yeah.
2024, I think it was 2024. And yeah, it was a great day for me. I remember when I pitched Aaron, I was super nervous. I got breakfast with Matt, and I was trying to get him to commit, and we ended up doing it, and they just had faith, right? It was a complete flyer,
Yeah.
and they took it, and we were able to show results pretty early on. One of the first deals that I'm not sure if it got done or not. It was like a swig deal that Zig had that someone sent a piece of land to them.
Okay.
But anyways, I remember like something happened from it, like a deal got sent and it worked. Right? Uh, so it was
So
so cool to see.
the second client you signed up, and how fast did that happen?
What's that?
Well, this deal that Aaron did with Swig with the land that was submitted to him, how fast did that happen? Because I mean, Aaron's your second client. I mean, you don't have a ton of people on the platform
No,
yet.
no. It was like an outside site submittal or something like that. I think he used like a link because at the time we were really pushing like the submission tools on LinkedIn where you can
Okay.
just post like a submission portal, like what we're making for Anchor right now, like that
Mhm.
submission portal link.
Yeah.
Basically, you could just post that on LinkedIn and get people to send you deals, and if they work, it would be filtered in and out, right? Based on your criteria and in areas that you wanted to be in. So he just posted the link, and it was so easy for the guy to submit the site. I remember it was Jason Mitchell, right? So he submitted the site, and he
Mhm.
made a post about how easy it was to submit the site via sites, and I was like, wow, like this is great, like someone's using it. It's like, and that's what we're doing, right? We're just removing friction from the process and making it as easy as humanly possible to get deals done and deals sent to you and know where you're going, and just get the yeses and the nos out quicker, right? Because a quick no is almost as good as a quick yes.
'Cause I think what
Uh,
people realize that aren't in our business doing, what, I do as a broker, what you do as a developer and retail, what they don't understand is the developers and landlords, leasing agents, they have to really be good friends with a retailer or that tenant rep broker to get the info, like, where do you wanna go? And some of them are very tight-lipped, some don't want, so there are people that are just uncooperative, and then there's we know the types of brokers out there, and, they're just impossible, or they're not even submitting the site to their client. I mean, I think that was, like, one of the reasons why I felt like I always did really well as a broker. I was just always honest. Now, obviously, if something really didn't work, I told them why it didn't fit the criteria so they wouldn't waste
right.
time saying the wrong thing. But I
Yeah.
mean, I always would submit stuff, especially even if I was 50-50 on the fence. I mean, I'm not the decision maker. I don't own, AutoZone or Panera Bread or these tenants I'm repping, so I'm not gonna act high holy roller like I'm the final decision maker. I can't tell you how many deals have come out of just throwing stuff. You gotta keep throwing it at them, and
Yeah.
you gotta look at it too and make sure it's good enough with traffic counts and access and obviously the price and the size, but you're just cutting fast to the chase, and the question is what resistance have you seen from brokers? Because obviously a lot of tenants you've now built up in, like, almost 2 years, 300 retailers or restaurants, etcetera, on sites that post where they wanna be across the
Yeah.
country.
Hmm.
I mean, how do you get brokers not to, I guess, flip out? You know,
So
they love to guard their book, especially the ones that are shuffling deals to the
yeah,
developers they want.
yeah.
Not
So
yeah,
so those guys hate me. Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure they hate.
Yeah, those internet brokers. There's no saving them, right? But they're at the end of the day, that actually hurts our industry as a whole. And let me tell you why. Because uh, they slow down deals like crazy, right? Because they're trying to push a site that's not as good as the other one, and they're not showing the good site, right? And it's because they get a double-sided kickback, right? They're getting their in some
That's
way or another, right? And I've been the friend too, so
yeah, oh,
I
I'm sure.
understand that,
Mhm. Yeah,
and I get it, right? But overall, that's not good for commercial real estate, because anything that slows down the deal process actually hurts the entire economy of commercial real estate as a whole.
it
And
does. Mhm.
the reason for that is because if we could get to a point where there's no doubt that a developer can send a deal, get a deal under contract, and know what tenants are going to be there every single time before they have to go hard on their deposit, that changes the entire landscape of the financing environment and lending environment of commercial real estate, because a bank can underwrite the deal differently because there's a different risk profile.
Right.
So the financing could theoretically increase exponentially because there's so much less risk in all of these deals. And there's certain developers that can pull it off now, but a lot of guys are still doing it under spec. They're still going hard on deposits. There's still ambiguity left, right? But if your leases are signed before you ever go hard, well, that changes everything, right? And we're getting to the point where that can happen. And we're also getting to the point where there's so much volume and velocity and less time wasted, that even those tenant reps that are kicking back, we're getting maybe a kickback or two or whatever, they're realizing, well, okay, I can squeeze 10% more out of one deal, or I can get 4 deals done this year because of sites, and I'm making money on 4 deals more than one that I just squeezed a little bit more. So
Right.
they're winning in the aggregate. They win on the volume side,
But
right?
that's what I was just gonna say. That's why I think I know it's not I don't think, I mean, I know that's why I always did so on, why I tell the people I work with, like, you want volume. It's
Yes.
this business for brokers is volume, just like developers, it's volume. it is for retailers, it's about volume. But the problem with, I think, a lot of brokers is there's so many unskilled ones where they don't understand finance. They would have no idea what you were just talking about, and they don't even care. They also like, I had a client who always I remember he said, he's like, "I cannot stand this one person we were dealing with. They're like, they are jumping over dollars chasing at pennies." And when you are that type of person, and some people, they don't even care about money. This is something I've come to realize, especially, I guess, because of my age and how long I've been in the business. I realize for a lot of people, I've always been about the relationships and being successful, which obviously equates to making money, and a lot of it. But, there are people, all they care about is control.
Yeah,
Control. They don't care
100%.
if they're not a high net worth producer. They don't care if they lose clients. They don't care if they're pissing everyone off.
Yeah.
Um, and and I think what Sites does is it definitely throws the brokers who wanna just be in control
Oh, they're done.
over. They're
Yeah,
done.
we're weeding them
Actually,
out.
and they shouldn't even be in this business.
No, they shouldn't because they slow everything down and
They
they
do.
screw it all up for all of us. Because imagine,
They do.
just even if you get one or two more deals done
Yeah,
because of sites and because those guys aren't involved anymore,
right.
well, guess what? That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like it's
And if
just
your
it
client's gonna protect you, it's like, who cares? That's all I
exactly.
always cared about is just don't do deals behind my back. Like, just, you're using me exclusively. We're on the same page, right?
Absolutely. And it comes from insecurity, right? So there's
Yeah,
brokers that are not secure in their
right,
tenant relationships, okay?
right. You don't
And
cultivate them.
exactly. And the
Yeah,
problem with that is that that insecurity actually leads them to do a worse job because they can't feel like they can give the information out to these landlords and developers that they need to actually be able to do a deal, right? So they can only work with that really small trusted group, and then that's what happens. That's where everything, the pipeline gets this big, and it all the deals go to die, right? Because if they could open it all up, they could get more deals done, but they can't
how
because
many
they have insecurity.
how many brokers are signed up on Sites now?
Oh man, I don't know. I have probably so we have on landlord side probably around I would say around maybe 100 or so. I think about that. I would say
Mhm.
maybe a little bit more. I have to
Okay.
check, but yeah, we're getting more and more brokers by the day. Uh, I think the tenant rep brokers. Well, actually, I mean that's a lie. We literally signed up 100 tenant rep brokers with Dutch Bros alone.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely a lot more. I would say a couple hundred. Yeah, a couple hundred brokers are on sites. They were skeptical at first, obviously, because oh, what if someone's going to steal my tenants? But once they realize like they're getting more deals because of it, and
Mhm.
they're able to lean on the skills that actually matter for a broker, like their negotiating skills, their deal making skills. Who's that landlord? What's the what pushes their buttons, right? Um, you just get more deals done. Now brokers are flocking to us, right?
Right.
And it's made it better. And then the most interesting part is that some of these tenants are requiring their tenant rep brokers to use sites. So if you're a tenant rep broker who's already familiar with sites, well, guess what? You have a crazy advantage now because you don't have to go through the onboarding that all the new brokers have to do. You can easily get plugged in with multiple tenants in their system. So now you're seeing the pipeline that's getting submitted to them and it's getting
Mhm.
routed to you. So guess what? You get the commission and you didn't even have to do anything. You could literally join a tenant system, take over a territory. There's like 15, 20 perfect sites waiting for you to just negotiate. And wow, you just got a ton of deals done. You don't even have to search anymore. You literally just have to negotiate. So it's
Right.
getting cool. It's getting really cool.
Where do you think you'll be in a year with this?
Hopefully, I want to have over 1,000 tenants using the platform, and I want to hear about deals getting done literally every single day. I want to know a new lease that got signed, a new ground lease, a new development that's getting done every single day because of it. So that's where I want to be. I just heard from one guy he got 7 LOIs signed with one of our tenants. So I was really really happy about that. Yeah, it's amazing.
So what, because obviously, we use, I think mostly every firm has Crexy or, CoStar, both. And where does like the buck stop with them versus sites?
Yeah, so we're the exact opposite of them, right? We're tenant based, and they're landlord based, and we're trying to cater to tenants and tenant reps, and they don't sell to tenant reps really. So it's just a different tool. We don't really compete with them at all. We don't want to become like a listing platform or anything like that. This is
Right.
just like it's just a new thing. It's just a
Mhm.
new thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
you've got the tenant rep, you have the tenant playbook
yeah,
sitting there
that's
where you could
exactly
submit
it.
your sites. You could submit sites to them, or you could see where
Yep.
they're looking for sites.
That's exactly it.
Either
That's
way.
exactly it
Mhm.
from the landlord side. And then the tenant reps log on, see the deals. They don't have to waste any time looking at deals that don't work because it's all filtered based on their criteria and trade
Right.
areas they want to be in. Right. So it
Yeah.
cuts all of the noise out of the equation. So tenant reps can just focus on deals, and the landlords and developers don't have to waste time just with a shotgun approach. They know exactly what they need to send and
Right.
how it needs to be sent. So nobody's time is getting wasted. There's no more guessing. It's all there for you. So now it's just like yes or no. That's it.
Yeah. I Why don't you explain when you sign up for sites that you do sign up per state, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
And as a broker developer. And then as a retailer, you have the full United States or whatever states you're in, right? Because they're not paying, correct? The retailers, or are they?
No, they pay. Everybody pays. Yeah, everybody pays. Yep,
Everyone pays that's on, whether you're broker developer
everybody pays.
or retail. Okay. So,
Okay, okay.
Rafi, thanks for being on. I appreciate it. We could keep talking forever, and I'm going to have you back because we're going to talk more in a couple months because things are evolving and changing. Everyone needs to follow what you're doing. So, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
So the best way to find me is LinkedIn. Just Rafael Weiss on LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn addict. I'm literally posting every day. I'm sure you are too. I know
Yeah,
that.
we're gonna
I
make
know you
friends.
are. Yeah. So yeah, that's just the best way to find me. And then it's sytescre.com.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you,
Appreciate
Tori. It
it. Bye.
was a pleasure. Bye.
Yes. Bye.